Ain't this some... Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. It's probably super played out by now. How's everybody out there in Disorderland this week? That was rhetorical, I guess, unless by the time I upload this, there's been some amazing medical advances. For those of you not subscribed, I won't ask you to until the end of the video, but this channel usually covers obsessive compulsive personality disorder. However, due to the current state of things, this video will cover the broader topic of mental health in general, and we'll continue to produce both mental health and OCPD videos moving forward. Also, I'll mention that I've produced a companion video to this one, a sort of yin to this yang. It's out now, and it's specifically focused on managing one's OCPD during this situation we find ourselves in. It's a lot more targeted to my core audience. And lastly, I'd appreciate it if you hit like and share this video if you get anything out of it. Moving on, well, I'm experiencing all of this at the same time as you, obviously, but each of us is facing various levels of isolation, loneliness, danger, oppressiveness, lack of access to necessities, worry, dread, and how serious this is for you in your location. But for those in the most dire of straits, this video isn't going to change that, and my heart really does go out to you guys, and I wish you and your loved ones the best, and that each of your governments acts in an efficient and timely manner as to mitigate the effects of the virus. And yes, I have to bleep any reference to the virus, as YouTube's ignorant policies would block this video otherwise. Okay, let's try knocking things down one at a time. We'll start with the easy and work our way to the hard. I think it's safe to say if you're watching this, you're experiencing some form on some level of isolation. I believe this to fall under the easy category as we live in a time in which we're all connected digitally. For all of you born after 1991, you might not understand how much worse this would have been 30 years ago, but it's not 30 years ago, it's right now, and we do have the ability to stay connected even when we're apart physically. And I'm guessing you probably have the time now to stay connected. It's up to each of you to do so, but you definitely could use this time to connect. Call friends you haven't spoken to in years, maybe have hard discussions you've been putting off, or learn more about the people that are closest to you just by asking questions. I know I had people in my life that passed too early, and I wish I had learned more about them when they were still around. Lean on those that matter to you the most and use each other to lift each other up. Currently, my girlfriend and I take opposite shifts on that one. When I'm having a bad day, she's there encouraging me and vice versa. We just keep praying that our bad days don't overlap. With all of this time to ourselves, another healthy route people have chosen to take is to pick up a new, creative, productive, and enriching hobby, or alternatively, they've looked into ways that they may be able to help those that are worse off than them. I'm aware that these things aren't quite as simple as maybe you think I'm making them out to be. Maybe you've always wanted to learn the guitar, for example, and now that you have the time, you don't even have enough money to pay your electric bill. However, your mental health is as critical as your physical health, so try to not let money be an obstacle. Maybe a friend has one you can borrow, or look for the cheapest guitar you can find online. As long as it has 6 strings, you're cool. I know this because that's exactly what I did. My guitar sounds like a cat being sucked up by a vacuum cleaner, but I still get to practice. And love me the power of YouTube as well. I don't think a hobby exists that you can't find a tutorial for on YouTube. For example, close to home, my brother is quite the prolific and talented artist, and he's been hosting art classes online during this time. And I'll even link to him in the description in case guitars aren't your thing. Next up is exercise and eating right. By now, it should be no secret that exercise does just as much for your mind as it does for your body. Try yoga at home maybe, or exercise outside if you're allowed to with social distancing. So to review so far, stay connected, find a hobby more or less, exercise, and try not to let this be an excuse for developing bad eating habits. That was the easy stuff. Probably you didn't need me for any of that. Though if you only do those things, it's possible that the reality of the situation does eventually set in, and unfortunately, maybe you experience depression or anxiety for the first time in your life. And for those of us that were already dealing with mental health concerns before this whole thing kicked off, a new hobby isn't gonna quite cut it. Take me, for instance. I've spent the last 6 months in treatment and on specific medications that took a long time to figure out, but now I no longer have access to the same treatments, and I'm running out of the medications due to some bureaucratic nonsense between and so these sessions and medications that have done so much good for my life over the last 6 months are all going away with no safety net. Am I freaking out? Yeah, of course I'm freaking out. Who the hell wouldn't freak out in this situation? But what I haven't done is lose hope. I'm not going to let a little thing like a diplomatic fumble stop me from pursuing the things that I need in this life. Again, though, what's more important is the retaining of hope. Hope that the improvements I've made are real. Hope that I've developed the strength to weather the storm, and hope that I've learned enough about myself to make sure that things don't spin wildly out of control. And I know many of you are in the same situation. Either you've lost access to mental health treatments or your regular medications, or both. For that reason, we should make this a time to start looking past our differences and start leaning on each other as a community. And what I mean by that is that for the time being, we may have to shift from professional help and counsel to finding support in our communities. And sometimes that can come from unexpected sources. In fact, I'm sure many of you are familiar with the idea of a sponsor for those that are recovering from drug or alcohol dependencies. A sponsor is a guide that leads by example and offers you the encouragement you need when you need it most. So if you don't have access to the treatments that you need, maybe now's the time to be more transparent about what you go through with someone that you trust. Sometimes we do more damage to ourselves working so very hard to keep our mental health issues a secret. But now is the time when we need a friend or a confidant or a community to help lift us up. How things are now is not how they're going to continue to be forever, and you need someone to remind you of that and to help you direct your nervous energy into a positive outlet. Which brings us to fear. This one isn't easy or simple. What's happening for many people, and especially those with mental health issues, is that they're allowing fear to control them. Bad decisions and indecision are what result from allowing fear to control our lives. Fear elicits a fight or flight response from us, which, although incredibly useful in prehistoric times and possibly haunted houses, can be crippling in day-to-day life. And over time, it can take its toll on our immune system. So I don't really have to tell you the dangers of staying in a highly stressed out state of mind while this is on the loose. And just hearing that probably gave you that pit of the stomach feeling you get when you hear a dentist drill. But the good news is that there are many things that we can do to keep ourselves safe and things that we can do to keep our loved ones safe. And seeing as we actually do know who the enemy is, we can talk about real world things that you can do to keep yourself safer and to lower your fear and stress response. Let's start with the lockdowns. Even if they only prove effective while remaining in place, we get to have the knowledge that they work. And as is commonly known, knowledge is power. And this knowledge is also reassuring. Some of what we know is based on our trusting China, so we may have to take a little bit of a leap of faith. While we're on that topic, by the way, please cut the with the xenophobia. People all over the world are exactly the same as us. It's the governments that are ruining it for everybody. If somebody's a bat or a manatee or a unicorn, that they shouldn't have, that's on them. That's not on an entire race. Sorry for the diatribe, but believe it or not, now isn't really a great time to be stirring up hate. But back to what we can do to protect ourselves and, along with that, give ourselves peace of mind. We have social distancing, again, proven effective. I see people choosing to ignore this all over the world, but that's them, and we, as in you and I, aren't going to choose stupidity over facts. We're going to take that bit of advice and limit our potential exposure to the Next is face protection and hand sanitizer, and I don't have time for people that think masks don't work. They might be the single best tool in this whole mess. If you really want to go the extra mile, you can even wear glasses. Many of us do anyway. If you don't need them, get the clear glass hipster ones and we'll let that slide for a while. It is a super bummer that the government's lied to us about the face masks. They assumed if we knew that we wouldn't do the right thing and allow the frontline healthcare workers to have them, but that isn't true. I know you guys are cool and we would have all done the right thing. Listen to the advice from experts and you will be greatly, greatly reducing the possibilities of contracting the thing that YouTube doesn't allow me to say by name. Helping others to feel good goes a long way to helping ourselves to feel good. So let's all treat each other with a lot more consideration, respect, and kindness during this time. And maybe we can even continue it once we get past all this stuff. Unfortunately, it's not only the that is causing us anxiety and depression at the moment. Yes, the is super scary, but we have a lot of control over the amount we're potentially exposed to it. There are things we have less control over, however, starting with my prescriptions, for example. Or you might be in a country in which the government is mishandling these circumstances or trying to use fear to take away more of your freedoms. The economic downturn is obviously terrifying, and I'm sorry, but celebrities telling me everything is going to be okay isn't cutting it either. And of course, the biggest fear of all is losing a loved one to the illness. So how do we minimize our fear, our stress, our anxiety? Do I tell you everything is cool and there's nothing to actually be worried about? Obviously, no, but there are truths that I can tell you. I can tell you that we are all much stronger than we think we are. What you need to have is a belief in yourself, and that takes time, but guess what? Right now, all we have is time. Centering yourself is another piece of the puzzle. You can do that with mindfulness, yoga, meditation, or maybe something more out there like ASMR or laughter therapy. I have no idea what your thing is, but if you look for it, you're more likely to find it. And I don't want any of this to come across as a pick yourself up by your bootstraps type of speech. What this is more of a I believe in you and we're all in this together type of speech. Maybe even by the time you watch this, the worst of it will be over. In the meantime though, doing something is always better than doing nothing. The reality is that I can't fix your problems, and you knew that coming into the video. At least I hope you did. And if you've suffered any type of loss, you need to surround yourself with loved ones, and it might do you good to talk to someone that can offer real therapeutic solutions. I'm just some guy on the internet. That said, if there is something I can do, please just ask. And the last bit of advice would be to avoid the news. Not at all costs, of course. You need to know about any important information coming out, but you do not need minute-to-minute updates. How about trying to spend more time with your kids instead? You all know I love you and I want you to take care of yourselves. There really are ways to minimize the damage that this is wreaking. Listen to the doctors, use the available safety measures, and focus on keeping a perspective. We will get through this together by looking out for each other and practice empathy. So no idea if I did what I set out to do with this video, but there is some positivity in here somewhere, I promise. I do practice all the things I talked about in this video, and so far I have been able to maintain some peace of mind. And remember, this is without treatment, without medications, stuck in an unfamiliar country, all while on lockdown. So if you only get one thing out of this content, take away that it's possible to get through this and come out of the other side and eventually find your way back to something resembling more like normal life. There's so much more to discuss on this topic, but we'll have to leave it here for now. If you did get anything out of this video, now's the time I'll ask you to share it on social media. If there's something in here for you, maybe there'll be something in this video for somebody else. And if you want to ask a question, or there's something I forgot, something that pissed you off, or if you have some advice of your own, just drop it in the comments. If you've ever wanted to support the channel, there really wouldn't be a better time than now, but I don't want to make this video about that. So I'll leave more info on how you can do that at the top of the video description if you're able. Moving forward, there will be broader mental health videos mixed in with my OCPD content, and as I said I was going to ask you to subscribe at the end of the video, I'll go ahead and do that now. So if positive and engaging content on maintaining a healthy mind is something you'd like to see more of, please hit subscribe, click the notification button, and while you're down there, go ahead and hit that like button too so YouTube knows to show this video to other people. Don't forget, I'm releasing a companion video today specifically on OCPD, but if you don't have OCPD, I'm not going to be bothered if you skip it, because I'm still Daryl, this is still my life in debris, and we're all in this together. Stay safe and stay in touch. Okay, Google, play Everybody Hurts.
That's wildly inappropriate.
We